Some of the most urgent needs in our communities are the ones many people never see. Hidden behind silence, fear, and isolation, human sex trafficking continues to affect lives across our region. Community of Hope exists to bring light, support, and a path toward freedom.
My name is Liz, and I work with Community of Hope. I am the Hope Ambassador, which strictly means I get to be the face. I get to go out into the community, meet connections, bring awareness. So we stand on 3 pillars: prevention, intervention, and restoration. I do a big part of the prevention piece, going into schools, youth groups, talking about sex trafficking, what to look for, what the signs are. If we can catch it before it happens, that's the goal. The vision that drives us is we want to end sex trafficking in New Brunswick. It's become prevalent. Moncton's become the hub. And I believe that we are the only anti-sex trafficking organization fighting against it. What we're fighting against is loneliness. What we're fighting against is $275,000 a year that a woman can bring in for a trafficker. We're fighting organized crime. We're fighting coercion. We're fighting confinement. And we're fighting for freedom for these women who come to us for help.
Community of Hope serves those who have been sexually exploited and those seeking a way out of trafficking and forced sexual services. Its work helps address critical needs such as safety, recovery, support, dignity, and the opportunity to begin rebuilding life with hope.
Who do we serve? I'm going to tell you that even though we're small but mighty, we are making a big splash and big impact. So not only are we serving women escaping from either sex trafficking or sexual exploitation and working closely with them, we are also working with our community partners, the RCMP, all kinds of professionals and social workers, to make action happen in an area that has been, I want to say neglected, but it would probably be better to just say maybe that people didn't know was happening. So through our awareness campaigns, we have brought such a difference in what people think of sex trafficking and what that means for our community and how to serve them. So we are building a lot of things. So if you picture, geese flying in a V, right? There's always a head goose that is breaking the wind tension. So who are we serving? All of those that have that wall of uneducated or just not knowing of what sex trafficking is. So we are not only, again, serving the ladies and the women that need our help, we're also serving the community and businesses, and so a lot of different areas that we're hitting in impact. So what impacts? I would say that our community presentations have made a very large impact in the sense of just, I think it was a month and a half ago, this gentleman actually called the police and did a wellness check on this apartment, and they found a woman being trafficked there. Would he have called if he didn't know the signs? And was it our particular presentation? I'm not sure, but that's the kind of thing that starts happening when you start educating the public so that you can start getting these women out of the situations they're at, because oftentimes people just don't know. So when they don't know, of course it doesn't get reported. And if it doesn't get reported, they stay stuck in the situation and then get shipped off, to other more profitable cities like Quebec and Ontario and those things. I should say Toronto instead of Ontario, but because I said cities. But so, and what makes us unique is that literally all the time people are putting sex trafficking in the same category as domestic violence or gender-based violence, which yes, it completely is, but it's its own beast, for lack of a better word, as in there are very different traumas that come with it. There's very different trainings that you need to undertake to understand where they're at. And I think our trauma-informed care is super huge in understanding where they're coming from and the years and years that they've experienced being sold and being an object when they're actually their own person. You can't imagine like a desk compared to a person, but that's how they're treated. So it's unique in the sense of we're really pushing our way, again, as that head goose does, is breaking the wall of what sex trafficking really is.
What captures the heart of what our organization stands for? I was introduced to go to one of the public schools here in Moncton, and they invited me to come in. They wanted me to talk about sex trafficking to the students. One of the questions that a student asked was, what does your best day look like and what does your worst day look like in the role that I was in, which we had a trauma recovery home. So what my worst day looked like was one of our recipients chose me to be their scapegoat, to be their punching bag, to be their... I wasn't physically assaulted, but verbally, she made me feel lower than the gum on the bottom of your shoe, repeatedly. And I could have taken time off, and she did verbally threaten me. What I did do is I showed up the next morning for her, because that's what I do. Showing up for these ladies again and again will create the trust. People have let them down their whole life. So when someone that they're supposed to be in trust with lets them down, that's horrifying. So I showed up again for her the next day. We worked it out, smooth things over, forgiveness. Misunderstandings happen. That's what a worst day can look like. My best day, I had done a intake for one of our recipients, and she had one of the worst stories that I'd heard. We connected on the phone a few times. I was on the team to go get her, and I said, I can't wait to welcome you with open arms. And she says, I don't hug. I said, okay, well, we'll do a fist bump, we'll do a hip check, a high five, something. But you'll be very well welcomed, and I'll respect that boundary that you've set. So a few weeks later, I don't think it was 2 months, maybe a month, 6 weeks later, she was in the kitchen of our trauma recovery home. And she says, Liz, I have something for you. I said, oh, okay, well, what's that? She's like, no, you have to come. And she stood with her arms out like this. And I said, does that mean what's for supper? Because I made no assumptions. I respected her boundary. And she says, no, I want to give you a hug today. And I want to thank you for being genuine. And I still get choked up when I tell that story, because that was so impactful, that this woman who hated being touched chose me to give a hug to. And to see this woman blossoming in her healing, because she's found love, she's found security. It's so beautiful to see. So that's my impactful stories of why I do what I do.
So we had this one guest, and she and I were doing, I call it programming, but maybe deprogramming is a better word, So we were talking about, just codependence and boundaries and stuff like that. And she started getting very angry with herself. She was really being hard on herself, because what was happening is healthy thought was coming in, and it was coming against the lies that she had been groomed to believe. So she was getting confused, and that confusion was causing her to internalize and take it really angry and be hard on herself. So she finally took kind of a breath after just being like, I don't know why I'm so confused. I can't figure this out. And, she finally took a breath. So I was able to interject in that moment and be like, hey, it's okay. I just want you to know this is normal for your brain to be confused, and that it's not your fault. And she just kind of paused for a minute. And at that point, we kind of had to stop the program, because she had a lot to process, and you don't want to overwhelm people. But the next day I came into work, and this particular guest loves painting encouraging things on rocks. So I came in the next day, and she had this big rock, and on it, it said, it's not your fault. And that moment I was like, she took it in. And she understands, and she's receiving that grace for herself, that this happened to her. It's not who she is. And it was such a impactful moment for me that made me realize why all that training was so important, and why meeting them where they're at is so important. So that is one of the most heartfelt, impactful stories that affected me, and it made me cry so much. So yeah.
The impact of being part of the Ministry Excellence Awards and being seen is, in fact, that we're very small still. We've only been established since 2018. We have a small staff, still mostly run by volunteers and volunteering hours. We need the funding. You can't run a ministry as impactful of what we're doing, fighting against sex trafficking, on volunteers only. And the volunteers have been wonderful. The staff has been wonderful. But we all want to be full-time staff fighting this. We still need to pay our bills. So just getting the exposure of knowing what Community of Hope is. Some people still don't know about us, which is why I'm out there in the communities telling people, making those connections and seeing where that conversation leads to. That's exciting for me because I walk into every conversation with expectation of what's to come.
This work deserves to be recognized because it brings dignity, awareness, and hope to one of the most hidden and devastating issues in our communities. Community of Hope is helping build a future where exploitation is confronted, lives are restored, and lasting change becomes possible.